21. Building 27958A was a stark, modernistic six-story sandstone and glass structure tucked away in a corner of the rolling, pastoral campus of the FBI Training Academy in Quantico, Virginia. And in Pod E, a small, harshly lit room hidden in the building's maze of offices, the forensic examiners of the FBI Operational Technology Division toiled away. Their job was to help the Bureau and other government agencies determine the make, model, and year of a vehicle when there wasn't too much to work with. To accomplish this, the examiners employed an inventive bit of software that had been originally developed, at the cost of about $1 million in taxpayer dollars, for a secretive Defense Department, the Irregular Warfare Technical Support Directorate. With the click of a series of computer keys, the program searches with a methodic diligence through a staggering inventory of cars until it identifies the make and model of a vehicle in a still image. Prodded by the federal agents working with the team, the stymied Moscow detectives sent copies of their collection of car videos to the forensic specialists at the Quantico-based unit. And right away, the expensive software worked like a charm. Or more precisely, 3 charms. The FBI forensic examiners first deduced that suspect vehicle 1, the white car caught on multiple cameras leaving the crime scene, was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. However, upon further review, they would later decide the mysterious Hyundai might very well be a 2011 to 2016 vehicle. Then, with the passage of even more time, as the examiners continued to pore over an additional image of a car consistent with the Hyundai near the murder scene, they definitively narrowed down their analysis. It was a 2014 to 2016. And that was the best analysts could do. In all the inventive manipulation of the pixels in the video footage of suspect vehicle 1, the Bureau's techies still couldn't come up with a legible shot of the license plate. Nor was there a single legible image of the driver. All they could decipher was a dark, murky shadow hovering over the steering wheel. Another large obstacle: there were 22,000 Hyundais in the region that matched the search criteria. The hunt would be a nearly impossible task, a needle in a haystack sort of challenge. But what choice did they have? One of the 22,000 Hyundais had very likely been driven by a killer. On November 25th, 12 days after the murders, the Moscow PD issued a nationwide be-on-the-lookout alert, a bolo in cop speak. It was judiciously worded, the authorities trying not to oversell what they had. Detectives are interested in speaking with the occupants of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra with an unknown license plate. Investigators believe the occupant of this vehicle may have critical information to share regarding this, the Idaho student murders case. Yet there was a problem with the bolo. The Moscow authorities had disseminated the FBI's initial inaccurate determination of the Hyundai's year. In time, they would correct this error, but by then, the damage would have already been done. 4 long days passed before the campus cops at Washington State University, the school not much more than a 10-minute or so drive across the state line from the Idaho murder house, got around to hunting for the car. On November 29th at 12:38 a.m., not even a half hour into the start of his midnight to 8 a.m. graveyard shift, Officer Daniel Tiengo decided to catch up on a stack of paperwork. It was a particularly slow time. The university was in the midst of its Thanksgiving break, and near the top of his pile was the bulletin the Moscow PD had circulated. It had been there for days. Tiengo was hardworking, affable, a nighttime supervisor with a straggly professorial goatee. Moments after he read the notice, he started tapping away at his computer, and a near match appeared on the screen. Brian Koberger, a grad student living in a university apartment compound on Northeast Valley Road, owned a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra. Dutifully, Tiengo passed the baton to his late-night patrol sergeant, Curtis Whitman. Whitman was an old guard campus cop, someone who had been deeply shaken by the decertification of a fellow officer for allegedly extorting sex from a co-ed in exchange for dropping an arrest for public intoxication. To diffuse tensions on campus in the aftermath of that incident, he had appealed to students in a public forum, asking for their support and cooperation. And at the same difficult time, he also wanted them to grasp his sense of duty, his commitment to their safety. He was there to protect them, he pledged. Whitman didn't waste any time tracking the vehicle down. At 12:58 a.m., precisely 20 minutes after Tiengo had initially identified a possible owner of the suspect vehicle 1, Whitman was staring through the nighttime darkness at a white Hyundai sitting in a graduate apartment complex parking lot. When he aimed his flashlight at the car, the numbers on the license plate were as distinct as those on top of an eye examination chart. He radioed his find back to his boss. Tiengo now had a plate number to go with the car owner's name, and Tiengo quickly forwarded the intelligence to the Moscow PD. But the team at headquarters showed no interest. The information from the WSU cop was cataloged and then swiftly filed away. The Bolo had requested that the authorities search for a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. This one was a 2015 model. Meanwhile, another car now sparked the team's interest. The team, in a sudden burst of inspiration, had landed on a new, intriguing idea. Kaylee Gonsalves's recently purchased used silver-gray Range Rover. Perhaps, they now wondered, the pretty blonde woman had caught the malicious attention of one of the vehicle's previous owners. Over several intensive days, believing they were finally onto something, the detectives tried to locate all the names listed on the car's registration. When they traveled up north to interview an individual with previous ties to the car, he at once turned belligerent. It didn't sit well with him that, by implication at least, he was being accused of 4 horrific murders. Tempers, according to one knowledgeable account, erupted. And frustrated, without any other leads to gnaw at, the officers gave as good as they got. But in the end, like all the others tied to the Range Rover, it became clear he was innocent and they were forced to apologize. The investigators returned to Moscow in a deep funk, uncertain of their next move. They had no idea they had already received the key necessary to unlock this case, and that it had been stored away in one of the team's computer files, forgotten and ignored.